Imagine you live in a house in the middle of a vast, dark forest. For years, you've been convinced that you are the only one living in these woods. It's quiet, too quiet. But then you look out the window at your nearest neighbor's house, a place that's been dark for billions of years, and suddenly you see a flicker. Not a fire, not a reflection. You see a light switch turning on. We are talking about Proxima Centauri, the solar system that is nearest to ours. It is just 4 light-years away, and scientists have been picking up some unusual signals from one of the system's planets. These aren't just radio beeps. We are talking about strange anomalies dubbed artificial lights that have been rattling the brightest minds in the space community. Is there a civilization next door? Well, it's definitely a possibility. While previous signals like BLC-1 are often analyzed to ensure they aren't just an echo of our own civilization, a new generation of telescopes is changing the game. We are moving from listening for aliens to actually seeing their cities glow in the dark. Buckle up, because the James Webb Space Telescope might just be the paparazzi that catches our cosmic neighbors in the act. Let's get the geography straight. Proxima Centauri is our closest neighbor star. Orbiting this star is Proxima b, a rocky world roughly similar in mass to the Earth. It sits right in the habitable zone, which makes it the prime real estate of the galaxy. In late 2020, things got spicy when a signal named BLC-1 was discovered coming from this direction. While these signals often turn out to be our own interference, basically Earth talking to itself, it forced us to ask a bigger question. Why don't we just directly look at planets in Proxima Centauri and see if civilization is there? The most obvious sign somebody lives on Earth is the glow from a night side of our planet. Our cities emit light that escapes into the cosmos. Until recently, the problem was that our current generation of telescopes was not powerful enough to see lights on distant worlds. It's like trying to see a candle on the moon. But that era is ending. Researchers are testing the capabilities of the next generation of telescopes. Specifically looking at you, James Webb Telescope. The hypothesis is simple but mind-blowing. If a civilization is advanced enough, or glowy enough, we would be able to see if they have the lights on. So, how do we spot a city 4.25 light-years away? It's a game of contrast. Researchers Ali Sataba and AVI Lub took Webb for a virtual alien light hunting test drive. They modeled a scenario where Proxima b uses artificial illumination similar to LEDs on Earth, which have distinct characteristics. Here is the math, and it is surprisingly optimistic. Taba and Lub found that if the artificial night-side illumination of Proxima b reaches 5% of the natural day-side illumination, Webb could detect that artificial light with 85% certainty. If they crank that brightness up to 9%, Webb's detection rate rises to a staggering 95%. Now, I know what you're thinking. 5% illumination doesn't sound like much. But remember, we are talking about the light from a star. Even though Proxima Centauri is a red dwarf and about 20 times dimmer than our Sun, 5% of its light is massive. It's almost like placing a firefly next to stadium lights. To put it in perspective, Earth's artificial illumination is only 0.001% of reflected stellar illumination. So if Proxima b hosts a civilization as lit up as us, Webb wouldn't be able to detect it. Their lights would need to be 500 times brighter than ours. But before you click away thinking that's impossible, let me explain why it's actually very plausible. Proxima b isn't just Earth 2.0. It orbits so closely to its host star, completing a year in just 11.2 days, that it is likely tidally locked. This means one side of the planet always faces the star, while the other is in perpetual night. Imagine living on the dark side of a planet. You wouldn't just use streetlights. You would need artificial lighting to support a technological culture. A civilization on a tidally locked planet would probably need to focus heavily on its lighting infrastructure. They might even use very bright orbital mirrors to reflect sunlight onto the night side of the planet. If they have done this, that light could be seen by our telescopes. We might be looking for something called an ecumenopolis. This is a city planet, a world where the entire surface is covered in one giant city, like Coruscant in Star Wars. It sounds like sci-fi, but it's probable that an advanced civilization could completely encase their world in an unending urban landscape. We are looking for artifacts on the worlds they have chosen to study, whether it's massive constellations of satellites, atmospheric pollution, or city lights. Artificial illumination is distinct from the natural light of stars. We aren't stopping with the James Webb. The new study points to LUVOIR, the Large UV Optical Infrared Surveyor, a multi-wavelength observatory with a possible launch in 2035. Thomas Beatty from the University of Arizona reviewed both LUVOIR and HABEX to understand how they will detect city lights out to a distance of 30 parsecs. Beatty found that these future telescopes would be capable of detecting ecumenoplous worlds around 82 stars near the Sun. And here is the best part. Detecting a city-planet version of Proxima b would be easy for next-generation telescopes. We could detect just 0.5% urbanization on the planet. Why does that number matter? Because current city growth rates put Earth at 0.5% urbanization within the next 100 years. That is literally a blink in cosmic time. If an alien civilization does exist, and they are even slightly older than us, they might have already reached this level. We don't actually know if technological civilizations are long-lived. That's one of the reasons why we do SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Finding someone else shining in the void means there's more hope that we can keep the lights on, too. Who knows? Those lights might just be an alien beacon asking for help. But wait, how do we know we aren't just looking at a really shiny rock or a volcano having a bad day? Because artificial illumination is distinct from the natural light of stars or geological events. Scientists call these clues technosignatures. There are several ways to tell alien technology exists on another planet beyond just city lights. For example, we might see the light of a distant world waver because of a massive constellation of satellites. It sounds familiar because we are doing the exact same thing on Earth right now, pushing more and more satellites into orbit. We could even detect atmospheric pollution. And I'm not just talking about smog. We could theoretically detect the fallout from a nuclear conflict. While orbiting debris or a comet impact could mimic some of these signs, artificial light has a very specific signature that nature just doesn't produce. We aren't just looking for brightness. We are looking for a specific kind of glow that screams someone built this. To understand this, we have to look at how we light up our own streets. In Thomas Beatty's models, he simulated the most common lights on Earth, high-pressure sodium streetlights reflecting off concrete surfaces. Why sodium? Because these lights feature a spectrum that is distinguishable from natural starlight. Stars burn with a chaotic mix of elements, but a street lamp emits light in very specific wavelengths. If we point our telescopes at Proxima b, we are looking for that specific color of civilization. Of course, it's not as easy as snapping a photo. In each scenario, these virtual scopes need to image planets for a minimum of 100 hours just to collect enough light streaming through the void to resolve the target. It's a long-exposure photograph on a galactic scale. The variables are the distance from Earth, the type of star the planet is orbiting, and crucially, the planet's level of urbanization. Let's talk about that level of urbanization. Currently, the Earth's surface is only about 0.05% urbanized. If aliens were peering at us from Proxima Centauri with our current level of technology, they wouldn't be able to see us. We are just too dim. But what happens if a civilization keeps building? A greater percentage of urbanization could help us see them more clearly, like say 100% urbanization. This concept has a name, an ecumenopolis. This is a world where the entire surface is covered in one giant city.